Hey there guys, you're here with Bo and welcome to another video, and today we're going to be talking about the coming Litecoin halvening. It's pretty close, it's only about 6 to 7 months away, where the block reward, the amount of Litecoins coming into circulation through the mining process, is going to be halving. So it's going to go from around 25 Litecoin to 12.5 Litecoin, essentially halving that new supply coming into circulation. Really interesting stuff. I've got a bunch of stuff to cover in this video. I want to talk about what happened last time there was a halvening and what happened around the price. I want to talk about the Litecoin network at the moment and how its strong hash rate power is a positive indicator, how Litecoin is being used a lot. It actually surprised me about how much Litecoin, the network, is actually being used for payments right now. We've got a bunch of really interesting stuff to cover, so be sure to stick around as we talk about the upcoming Litecoin halvening. Alright, so here we are on the Litecoin block reward halving countdown website, and as we can see, we've got this little ticker here that says it's 212 days and 10 hours 47 minutes away. Now the way block rewards, well, actually rewinding a little bit, what is a block reward for those who may not be so familiar with it? Well, essentially a block reward is the native currency on a protocol that is rewarded to miners for their proof of work. So when miners contribute their computational power, their hash power, to helping to validate transactions, to helping to provide that proof of work in the mining process, the reward, the economic reward, this is part of the economic model, is actually tied into cryptocurrencies and is extremely important to retain a decentralized, trustless network. So these miners are rewarded with cryptocurrency. Now, in the case of Litecoin, they are obviously awarded in Litecoin, and right now, each time a block is confirmed on the network, whichever miner solved that proof of work is rewarded with 25 coins. Now, over the space of a year, these coins act as a rate of inflation, right? So this is new coins coming into circulation based on the programmed supply. So right now we have 59.9 million Litecoins in circulation. That's how many have been mined. Now, Litecoin has a capped supply. This is a capped supply written into the source code, into the protocol of Litecoin, that can never be changed. Well, technically it could be, but consensus would highly unlikely ever be received, as people want to keep a fixed supply, and that's because over time, as more people use the network and as these block rewards halve, you introduce scarcity into the money supply of that particular cryptocurrency. And what does scarcity do? Well, it increases the hardness of the money. How hard is this to produce? How good of a store of value is it? So that's another thing as well. If you're using a particular cryptocurrency as a store of value, you want that circulating supply to reduce over time. You want inflation to reduce, and you want a fixed supply, because that means, that essentially says, well, this currency over time, provided it keeps being used, has a high probability of appreciating, right? So at the moment, based on the 25 coins that are released per block, we have an inflation rate of 9.16% per annum. Now, the inflation rate will halve to 4.09%. That is a significant reduction, right? So I think that needs to be appreciated during these halvening events on Bitcoin and Litecoin, that halving the amount of supply coming into circulation is significant. And the fact that we know exactly when it's going to happen, I mean, that's incredible. And let's use an analogy, okay? So let's say miners who are mining for a precious metal or a commodity, all right? So let's say gold, silver, plutonium, uranium, whatever. We don't know how much of these metals are in the ground. Well, no one really knows. There could be tons of it. We just don't know. Now, when prices appreciate for these assets, miners can actually ramp up production. They can increase the rate of supply coming into circulation. Cryptocurrencies, you can't do that. It doesn't matter how much the network is being used. The amount of supply, well, certainly for Bitcoin and Litecoin and many others as well, that supply cannot be changed. So no matter how much the network is being used, that supply cannot increase. It cannot increase. And so you have hardness of money actually built into the source code of the protocol, right? So that contributes to the hardness of that money. Now, the thing about a coin halving over time and having this built-in scarcity to certainly promote and encourage it as being a store of value is cryptocurrencies are divisible, right? So they can be broken down. Bitcoin can be broken down into 8 decimal places. I believe Litecoin is much the same. So the saleability over time, no matter what the price gets to, is still there. It can be broken down. I can send you, let's hypothetically, let's say, Litecoin reached $500 one day or reached $1,000 or whatever. If I still need to pay you just $50 a Litecoin, it's divisible. I can just send you, 0.001 or whatever it is of a Litecoin. So this is the crazy thing about cryptocurrencies is they are divisible. So it doesn't matter, really the price is irrelevant over time. The saleability, and the hardness of the money stays the same, if not increases. So we have at block 840,000. The block reward halves every 840,000 blocks. Now this is the other thing, right? So with block reward reductions, it's not tied to a time, it's tied to a block height. So as the network produces more blocks, as transactions are put into those blocks and those blocks are confirmed, written into the source code is you will halve the mining reward at this block height. The time is merely an estimation based on the amount of blocks that are produced and confirmed each day. And it is pretty accurate. I would say this would be accurate within a few hours. The only thing that might change this by a little bit is significant network traffic. I would say that's probably the only real thing, but it's very, very close. So in 212 days, as I said before, we know that Litecoin, the amount coming into circulation is reducing from 25 down to 12.5 coins. Now let's have a look at what happened last time, but before that, let's just show exactly how this works. So here we are on the Litecoin blockchain explorer, and what I've done is I've gone to block 839,999. This was one block before the very first halvening event. So we can see at that time, 50 Litecoins were being produced per block and awarded to miners. But as we know back here, every 840,000 blocks, that reward halves. So when we go to block 840,000, you can see the block reward halved. It went down to 25 Litecoin. Now, no one did this. This was not a manual process. This is automatic. This is written into the source code. It is written into the protocol and it cannot be changed. If they try to change it, they would not get consensus. Highly doubt they would ever get consensus. People do not want this changed. So what happened last time? What happened last time this happened? We can see, look at the date, all right? 25th of August, 2015. So here we are on the Litecoin price charts. Now let's just go, actually it's over here. Now this is really, really, really interesting, okay? So we had, Litecoin was trading around sort of $2 or $3 and had a huge run up in price. Look at how similar it is to this bull market that we experienced in late 2017. So we had a huge run up in price. Litecoin hit a peak of around, what do we hit here? I think it was around $40, $52. Okay, so Litecoin hit a peak of $52 and then they went into a prolonged bear market that lasted a little over 12 months. Let's provide some granularity here. So Litecoin went into this bear market. The entire cryptocurrency market went into a long bear market. Let's just what am I doing here? So it went into a long bear market, and then the halvening event. The halvening event triggered some change. Okay, so after the peak, it corrected here and hit a low of around sort of $1.45. Now, let's have a look at the date here. Let's just scroll over here, okay? So right here, around the 25th of August, this was the halvening event. 25th of August, 2015. Let's double check that. Let's go back here. Okay, 25th of the 8th, 2015, block height 840,000, 25 Litecoin. So there's proof, okay? Now, leading up to this date, here we are in April, we can start to see things started to pick up. Price appreciation, we hit a peak of $7, $8, then a small correction, then we led into August, and then the price hit a higher level and stayed at that level all the way up to the current date. It never dropped below the point, that low point at which it hit before that halvening event. So let's just confirm that. Let's just have a look here, and let's have a look at the entire chart. Now, incredibly, let's just turn off the price of Bitcoin here. Let's just look in terms of USD dollars. I mean, this was an exponential price rise back here, and then corrected, and then we had that halvening event. But during that period, we can see Litecoin generally retained a higher price level the entire period. Because why? Because the amount of Litecoin coming into circulation halved. So if the network is being used, if the network demand for Litecoin is staying at least the same and not increasing, and then you're reducing the amount of Litecoin coming into circulation by half, then it's pretty evident that you know what is going to happen. Now let's look at some other stuff, okay? So what I wanted to do is I wanted to go and check out how much the Litecoin network is being used. Are people using it? I was surprised at how much it's actually being used. And I wanted to look at some other statistics as well. So here we are looking at some Lightning statistics. At the moment, we can see the transactions in the past 24 hours. So we've got nearly 23,000 transactions on the Lightning network. And this is at the end, hopefully the end of a long bear market period, right? So the Lightning network is being used considerably. And look at this, Litecoin sent in the past 24 hours. So we've got nearly 6 million Litecoin, equivalent to 227 million US dollars. That is a lot of money moving around on the Lightning network. We've got an average transaction value of $10,000. So that says to me that Litecoin is being used to move large sums of money because it's extremely cheap. Look at this, the average transaction fee, 0.028%, 0.028 US cents. I mean, extremely cheap, not even 10 cents, less than half a cent. Extremely, extremely cheap. Now, looking at some other data. So another thing I wanted to look at is the transactions over time. So I wanted to see, is Litecoin actually being used? Is it continuing to be used? How is the demand for the network actually going over time? We can see here back since 2013, we've seen a steady kind of uptrend. Now, it kind of remained the same during, I would say, 2015 to probably mid 2016 before we saw this huge rise. I mean, we were seeing peaks up here around 160,000 transactions per day. We saw a big correction correlated to the price. That's very obvious. And then Litecoin has actually retained a steady level of daily transactions for most of 2018. So despite the price, Litecoin is still being used, and it's still being used a lot. Now, another thing I want to look at is hash rate. So hash rate is, the amount of miners that are actually mining Litecoin. That's really important for network security. We need to know that that Litecoin is secure, that miners are supporting it, and we're getting that proof of work that we need, right? So here's the hash rate over time. Very, very healthy hash rate. And in fact, when we actually have a look at the hash rate of Ethereum, this really surprised me. Litecoin is on par with the same hash rate as Ethereum. So as many miners, as much computational power is supporting the Litecoin network as is supporting Ethereum. That is a very, very, very positive indicator. That says to me that miners value the Litecoin network. It's profitable for the miners on it at the moment. They're clearly, the free market has weeded out those that had too higher operational costs, and we can actually see the hash rate is starting to grow, correlated with Ethereum as well. This is very, very positive indications for Litecoin as a network and as it's being used. Now, another thing that is also good to look at is you want to know how many honest nodes are supporting Litecoin. So Litecoin, the base protocol, is very, very similar to Bitcoin. It's just got a few kind of fundamental changes, things like its total supply. It uses the script hashing algorithm. Blocks are confirmed every 2.5 minutes rather than every 10 minutes. And a couple of other minor changes as well to the client. So we've got 1,950 nodes. Now, when we compare that to Bitcoin, Bitcoin has 10,000 nodes. So Litecoin has nearly 20% of the nodes of Bitcoin. Now that is actually very impressive. That surprised me, as well as how many nodes are actually supporting the Litecoin network. And what it is likely due to is the fact that Litecoin has a much smaller blockchain size, so it's far easier to run a node. We can see the blockchain size of Litecoin is only 21.3 gig, where I believe Bitcoin is nearly 200, if not over 200 gig. So to run a node on your computer, or even, you know, a spare laptop or something you have somewhere, it's very, very easy to run and cheap to run a Litecoin node because of the small blockchain size. So moving into just having a look at some very basic fundamentals of the Litecoin price. So what I've got here at the moment, this is Litecoin price over the past year. Blue line is the 200-day moving average. Green line is the 50-day. Red line is the 20-day. And I like looking at moving averages because it cuts out a lot of the complicated technical analysis stuff. It's looking at the real fundamentals of the price over a long period, and just gives you a real general indicator to say, hey, where does this moving average, where is it saying the price kind of should be at based on the past performance? And the 200-day moving average is putting Litecoin at nearly $60 at the moment, yet it's sitting here at $40. But actually look at the rise it's had just over the past couple of weeks. We've seen Litecoin go from $23 up to $40. Quite a substantial increase in quite a short amount of time as well. So very, very interesting looking at that again. 200-day moving average is putting it up near $60. Now here's another interesting thing: the Lightning Network for Litecoin. So because Litecoin was a fork of Bitcoin and has much of the same underlying protocol, many of the implementations that can be done to Bitcoin can also be done with Litecoin. So Litecoin, this is the Lightning Network implementation for Litecoin at the moment. You can see the number of nodes running Lightning Network for Litecoin is up 7.14%. I'm not sure if this is over the past day or month. Number of channels, we've got 305 Litecoin Lightning Network channels. It's hard to say. Network capacity, there's 27 Litecoin locked up in there at the moment, which is not much when compared to Bitcoin. I believe Bitcoin's got about 300 Bitcoin at the moment. Node countdown. So, you know, some healthy stats for the Lightning network as well. Now, when we come back to really just looking at the fundamentals, let's just have a look at the global charts. It's just some really interesting stuff. So, if we take a look at, let's just go all and have a kind of a look at what's going on. So we can see this run up here. We can see when it peaked just before the halvening, maintained a higher price all the way up till the present day through the bull and bear market, and then now been picking up for the last couple of weeks. Now, looking at the global charts, generally what carries the rest of the coins, most coins are highly correlated to Bitcoin, is Bitcoin. And Bitcoin's halvening is around 9 months after Litecoin's halvening. So we have Litecoin halvening happening on the 8th of August 2019, and then we have the Bitcoin halvening on the 25th of May 2020. So a couple of major halvenings happening within a fairly short time frame of each other. So look, very, very interesting stuff. So guys, that's pretty much wraps it up. I just wanted to give you a bit of a breakdown on kind of what you need to know about the halvening, when it's happening, what happened before, how the network's performing. It's performing healthily. There's a lot of people using it. There's a lot of hash rate. A lot of money is moving around on the Litecoin network. Are we going to see continual price appreciation from here? No one really knows. But look, all the indicators are pointing to a healthy Litecoin network, especially seeing as we know exactly when this is going to halve. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope it was informative. I hope you learned something. I certainly did. Always like looking at the data behind these different coins. If you did like it, make sure to give us a like. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to come on board. Let me know in the comments what you thought. If you want to take a look at any other coins, if you want me to kind of do some kind of research pieces on coins and tell you some of the stats and my opinion on different things, be sure to let me know. Thanks so much for watching. My name's Bo. Catch you in the next one. Cheers, guys.